Welcome to the SBI Podcast, offering CEOs, sales and marketing leaders ideas to make the number.
Welcome to the SBI Podcast, a weekly broadcast dedicated to helping you make your number by getting your peers to share with you how they make theirs. Today's topic is account-based marketing. My name is Greg Alexander. I'm the CEO of SBI, and I am also your host on today's show. Joining me today is Gahan Richardson. Gahan, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Sure. Thanks, Greg. My name's Gahan Richardson. I'm Senior Vice President of Corporate Marketing at Cypress Semiconductor.
Very good. Okay, tell the audience a little bit more about Cypress Semiconductor. What do you guys do?
Cypress Semiconductor is a company that makes chips for embedded systems. Basically, all the electronics that go in the devices that we all use as consumers, memories, microcontrollers, the things that make all the devices power, touch, and go.
Okay, fantastic. And since it's embedded systems, many of the people listening and watching this show are using your products right now. All right, I mentioned at the top that we're going to talk about account-based marketing. A little instruction for the audience on how to listen to or watch or potentially read this conversation between Gahan and I. I want you to pay attention to the questions that I'm asking. And ask yourself, am I asking these questions? These are the questions, in my view, that tell you whether or not account-based marketing is for you. So pay attention to not only the great answers we're going to hear from Gahan, as he is the practitioner at Cypress Semiconductor, but also the questions that I've prepared for you. All right, let's start with the first question. So Gahan, would you describe your sales cycle as long, complex, involving many stakeholders, departments, and decision makers?
Yes, definitely. Our traditional customers have evolved into sophisticated cross-functional buying processes that are well established.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Now, audience, if you answered no to that question, then you should start questioning whether or not account-based marketing is valuable to you. It's specifically valuable to companies that have long, complex sales cycles with many stakeholders, departments, and decision makers. All right, next question. Does your sales team sell to a list of targeted accounts?
Yes, definitely. While Cypress overall sells to over 30,000 customers, there's a select set of customers that are the largest in the market and overlap specifically with our target technologies and products.
Okay, very good. So again, audience, if your sales team does not sell to a specific targeted set of accounts, if it's more of a broad-based sales approach, where you're selling to small businesses or you're selling a product that has mass appeal as opposed to a highly engineered product with great complexity, where there's, relatively speaking, a small number of companies in the world that would buy your product. If that's you, then account-based marketing is for you. If it's not, then it's not. Okay, next question. Is it critical for your sales team to go wide and deep in their accounts, building many relationships?
Yes, definitely. You know, the overall objective here is to be intimate with our customers. Mm-hmm. You know, we're trying to establish a deep relationship with them, all the key stakeholders and influencers, so that we can influence the buy process.
Okay, very good. So another example why account-based marketing is perfect for Cypress Semiconductor. The next question, Gahan, is a little unfair, because you have a unique revenue recognition model where the design win happens and then the revenue cycle might turn in several years later. But do your best to answer it, and I'll try to translate for the audience. So the question is, will you make or miss your revenue goal based on a few big deals throughout the year?
So the answer is no within the year. But like any B2B business, there's a few big deals that are going to affect your business. It may translate in a consumer market to be within the year or an automotive market to be a few years out, but there's always significant big deals going down in the business that you got to make.
Yep. So in Gahan's business, you know, they will win a design And by the time it actually hits the end customer and orders start getting placed, there's a big lag period there. That's the nature of the semiconductor industry. The point with that question is, if you are a leader and you're going to make or miss your number on an annual basis or maybe on a rolling basis against a few big deals, then concentrating your marketing resources against those big deals makes sense. And the way to do that is account-based marketing. Okay, next question and last question of this segment. Do you deploy a land and expand sales strategy? And if for those that are listening, if you don't understand what that means, is you land maybe in a department with one product and then you expand to other departments within your customer base selling multiple products. Does that describe Cypress Semiconductor?
It does, actually. We call this penetrate and proliferate at Cypress. Focus on a key area where we've come to understand a customer's pain points, really develop solutions for them, and then through that experience in the service and products of getting that win, leverage that into the broader activities within the account.
Perfect. Penetrate and proliferate. I love that terminology. Who coined that? Did you come up with that as a brilliant marketer, or did you steal that from somebody?
I'll have to admit, that came from my my first boss when I started in the industry back in '97.
Well, we now know you're an honest man. If you asked me that question, I would have took credit for it. All right, very good. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do, I want to let our audience know that we've just released our annual workbook for 2017. If you're listening and watching this podcast, it's probably midsummer. The workbook is titled How to Make Your Number in 2017. It was written for executive leadership teams inside of companies with aggressive revenue growth targets who have a lot on the line and not a lot of time to waste. So if you're heading into the planning cycle, if you're getting ready for 2017, determining things like what should my revenue goal be, how many territories should I have, how should I assign out quotas, what is my compensation plan, et cetera, you're going to want to read this. You can get a copy of it at sbi.tips/2017 workbook. It will increase the probability of you making your number in 2017. All right, we're going to take this break, come back after the break. You're listening to the SBI podcast.
Do you have too many things to do and not enough time to do them? Is finding time to learn best practices almost impossible? The SBI podcast is your solution. Turn time spent exercising, commuting, and traveling into productive learning time with a subscription to the SBI podcast. SBI podcast listeners get unique insight into real-world sales and marketing issues through interviews with your industry peers every week. Find us on iTunes by searching for Sales Benchmark Index Podcast and subscribe today.
Welcome back, SBI listeners, watchers. You are listening to the SBI podcast, and I'm Greg Alexander, the host of the show today. And my guest is Gahan Richardson, VP of Corporate Marketing at Cypress Semiconductor. And today's topic is account-based marketing, which seems to be a hot topic these days. And we've got a great guest on the show, and we're going through questions right now to determine whether or not account-based marketing is the right marketing strategy for you. So let's jump back into these questions. So Gahan, we're going to talk about lifetime value here. So is the lifetime value of a, quote, key account or strategic account or a named account at Cypress worth at least 2 times that of a typical account?
Absolutely. It might even be more.
Really?
Selecting the right accounts carefully and building intimate relationships with them, where the actual account considers you strategic as well, can generate a revenue stream that lasts longer and is more profitable for any company.
Okay, fantastic. So listeners, if you have a key account program or a strategic account program or a named account or national account program, whatever you want to call it, if you've drawn a circle around a relatively speaking small number of accounts, that if you win them, they're worth at least 2 times the revenue and profit to your company as a typical account, then account-based marketing is for you. If not, you have to question whether you should believe the hype here around account-based marketing. Because if all accounts are created equal for you, then you might not want to concentrate your resources against a small number of accounts. All right, let's move on to the next question. So Gahan, would the working relationship between marketing and sales improve if marketing dedicated its budget to a list of dream accounts?
Greg, definitely. You know, at Cypress, this is something that we've really decided to take on in 2016 as a focus, where we've dedicated resource in terms of marketing people assigned to accounts and budgets to do specific activities to help the sales force dig out the key opportunities and provide solutions for those customers.
Right. Now, I happen to know your sales leader, and he's a great guy, Mike Balo, and I understand that you and he have a pretty good working relationship. So did you do this because it was the right thing to do? Did you do this because you needed to improve the relationship? My impression is you already have a great relationship. Is that true?
Absolutely. Great relationship. We really did it because we've learned that it's a more effective approach in order to win the top accounts.
Yeah. So regardless of the motive, right, whether you need to improve the relationship with sales, unfortunately, sometimes some marketing leaders need to do that. If it's the right thing to do, then jump on board. Okay, next question. Do you deploy a multi-channel, or what some people call the omni-channel marketing approach that requires a consistent customer experience?
Yes, we do. We've actually got a very well-established content generation engine within the company to back up our new product launches. And we take that out into the market in various ways, through our partners, through our channels, and then really with the Key Accounts program, we're taking that and customizing it specific to the target personas within the accounts we're targeting.
Fantastic. So you're driving a consistent message through these channels. The channels are well selected, well chosen. You got a content engine behind you pushing this stuff up, which is absolutely essential in order to deploy account-based marketing. If you can't produce content, forget about it. All right, let's go to the last question in this segment. This is question number 9 in our interview today. And just to remind the audience, we're asking the questions that tell you whether or not account-based marketing is for you, if it's worth the time, effort, and money to implement account-based marketing. Okay, question. Can you build a list of accounts? These are customers and prospects, ranked best to worst on revenue potential and propensity to buy?
Yes, you can. There's a real science to it and a process to how to do that. Looking at, where companies are ranked in the world, are they leaders in their market, your past business with them, and really truly evaluating your relationships with them and getting them to buy in actively with you is a key aspect of how you select your key accounts.
Yep. And you're right, Gahan. It is a real science. And I will tell you, so listen up, audience members, the single biggest reason why account-based marketing programs fail is they pick the wrong accounts. If you're going to bet the farm on a small number of accounts and dedicate your marketing resources against those accounts and your sales resources, you better pick the right ones. Do not be cavalier about this. And they need to be ranked top to bottom, best to worst, on revenue and profit. And by the way, that's not enough. You then need to rank them on the propensity to buy. I mean, if, Gartner Group tells you XYZ company could spend $1 billion with you, that doesn't mean anything. What you would need to do from that analysis is, are the conditions in place that company would actually spend with us in this time period? Are there trigger events that are happening in that company's business that are creating demand for our products and services, et cetera, et cetera? How to do this is out of the scope of this call. It is a real science. And I guess the advice I'm offering you and what we just heard from Gahan, which is a great reminder, it is a science. So make sure you learn the science. All right, we're going to take another break. But before we do, here's something for you audience members. SBI's new app and website allows you to create an account and personalize your experience with us. You can select how often you want to receive content, in what format, and on what topic. So download the SBI app from Apple's App Store or go to our new website at salesbenchmarkindex.com/register and tell us what you want. All right, we need to take another break. This is the SBI podcast. We'll be back in a second.
Making your number is hard. Your problems are complex. Complex problems need complex solutions. Introducing the SBI Magazine. Read in-depth stories written by award-winning journalists about how your peers have overcome their problems to make the numbers. When you need more than a tweet, social post, or blog article, turn to the SBI Magazine. Go to salesbenchmarkindex.com to subscribe.
Okay, this is our last segment with Gahan Richardson on the topic of account-based marketing. I'm Greg Alexander, CEO of SBI. Let's jump back into our questions. I got 3 more of them for you, Gahan. So the first one is, and this is the hard one, is can you develop rich insights specific to each of these accounts to enable your marketing and sales teams to be highly relevant and personalized?
Yes, you can. And the key here is really being intimate with your customer, understanding who the influencers are and how they think about the buy process and selection process, and then really focusing as a team on delivering the right solution to meet that person's criteria.
Yeah, I mean, we've long read and heard about the promise of one-to-one marketing. We just heard from Gahan is how critical it is. And the insights that you generate are the things that you're going to share with the client that gets them interested in what it is that you have to what it is that you have to offer, and then to be able to personalize it is what's required here in account-based marketing. This isn't a situation where you create a blog article that's generic in nature and blast it out to 50,000 people. It's insight generation and content marketing applied on a one-to-one basis, specific to an individual or group of individuals in a specific account. Okay, next question. Can you convert these insights into content and messaging for each of the individual buyers? So it's one thing to come up with an idea. Hey, Mr. IBM, we noticed this about your business. We think you could improve in the following ways. And it's another thing to turn that into a piece of content. So Gahan, tell the audience a little bit more about your content capability.
Sure. So as a team focused on a key or strategic account, as you've gained insights into what some of your customer problems are, or things that they just wish that they could potentially do, really bringing back a solution, proposing that to the customer, and getting them to iterate on that with you is key in this process. After that, really be able to take the next step after they've given you feedback and insights and help start to solve the problem along with you, helping build them out a prototype or just show them a vision for how the problem could be solved is a critical aspect to getting the customer on board.
Yep. Couple big words there for us that I really want to emphasize. So first off is painting a picture of a vision for an account. We so often forget that. But our customers and prospects need to be led. It's your job as a sales and marketing team to give them an aspiration. Let them know what the future might look like if they adopt your products and services. The second thing there is turn that into a prototype. Visions sometimes sit at 30,000 feet, and people are skeptical because there's lots of promises made and sometimes they're not always kept. So if you can turn that into a prototype and make the intangible tangible, now you've got a winning proposition, okay? Something to think about as you potentially embrace account-based marketing. Can you get to the point where you've got prototypes? All right, Gahan, my last question for you, I bet you thought that would never come, is can you get this personalized content, your vision, your prototypes, and all this messaging in front of these buyers and influencers? It's really hard to get people's time these days. So if you put forth all this effort, can you get it in front of them?
Absolutely. I mean, with a key accounts program where you've put the focus on that customer, you've built those intimate relationships, they've, in turn, are investing back in you. And as you've gone through the process of understanding their needs, by involving them in that process, by the very nature of that, you're in front of them.
Yep. Excellent. So what you just heard there, audience, is that the key account program, right, the sales team, they're building these relationships. They're the channel. Gahan and his team are developing these insights, developing this content, working with the sales team, and then distributing all of this great marketing material through the sales team. So if you're a marketer and you want to embrace account-based marketing and you don't have that level of integration with your sales team, particularly the key account group, don't even think about it. You have to have that type of partnership before you get going with account-based marketing. So I just did a quick tally. I asked Gahan 12 questions, and he said yes to 11 out of the 12 questions. So if I was a vendor in the account-based marketing space, I would call Gahan and try to sell him my stuff, because you just passed all the qualification criteria questions. Not that that was the purpose of our call, but you get my point. So it looks like this type of business, the kind of business that Gahan is in, is perfect for account-based marketing. And the purpose of me having him on the show today is to illustrate for you that this concept of account-based marketing is not for everybody, but it's a very, very powerful tool. And if you are somebody that meets that criteria, you got to get really serious about it and get going on it, because it could be transformational. All right, that's all the time we have for the show today. Gahan, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
It was really fun to ask you these questions, and appreciate you letting me have a little fun with you and being my guinea pig to a degree. You guys have some great stuff going on there at Cypress, and we're excited about what the future holds for you. So thanks again.
Appreciate it.
Okay, and I want to thank the SBI audience for tuning in. If you want to learn more about account-based marketing and the other emerging best practices top leaders like Gahan are deploying to make their numbers, go to salesbenchmarkindex.com/register and create an account. And we will send you highly personalized, relevant content just for you. But until next time, I wish you good luck as you try and make your number.
This has been the SBI Podcast. For more information on SBI services, case studies, the SBI team and how we work, or to subscribe to our other offerings, please visit us at salesbenchmarkindex.com.